Chapter 17, Connections. An hour or so after the cops leave, Dad's on his way back to work, and I'm in the kitchen after lunch with Mom, and the phone rings. I pick it up, but before I say a word, Mom grabs the floating receiver out of the air. Hello? No, I'm sorry, Bobby isn't here. He's visiting some relatives in Florida, and I'm not sure when he'll be back. I'll tell him to give you a call the next time I talk to him. Goodbye. She hangs up and turns to me cold and serious. Don't answer the phone, Bobby. If Dad isn't around or if I'm not home, just let it ring. Do you understand? Oh, right, like in case it's that lady calling. Mom nods, or Mrs. Trent, or the school, or just about anybody. You can't use the phone at all, and if you send any emails, erase your tracks. I tilt my head and stare at her in disbelief, which has no effect, because she can't tell I'm doing it. I have no body language. What, like you think they're going to tap our phones? That's pretty paranoid, Mom. Maybe, but maybe not. If I was running this investigation and I thought a child might be in danger, I'd sure ask a judge for a wiretap, wouldn't you? All I know is it makes sense to assume the worst, which is pretty paranoid, like I said. But I put a shrug in my voice and say, fine, I won't use the phone. Who called? Alicia. So I can't talk to her? Because I don't think I could stand that. Mom reaches into her purse and hands me her cell phone. Use this, and you can give Alicia that number, okay? I go up to my room and call Alicia. I'm glad she called because I've got this idea I want to bounce off her, except it's a pretty wild idea, and I don't want her to think I'm nuts. After she answers, she says, so how's everything in Florida? And for a few minutes I forget about my crazy idea because there's plenty of other stuff to talk about. I say, very funny, and I then tell her about the search party. When I'm done, she's not laughing anymore. The lady really said your mom and dad could go to jail? No, not exactly, but she said there could be criminal prosecution, and that means you get arrested, and when you get arrested, they take you to jail. So it's the same thing. She's quiet for a few seconds, then she says, guess what book I just finished listening to? I don't know, something a little lighter than The Scarlet Letter, like maybe Winnie the Pooh? I have no idea. The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. Oh, and you're reading this because of me, right? Of course. I'm deeply honored. So how is it? Creepy. I think H.G. Wells has some serious issues. All his books are about wackos who try to take over the world. This character he made up is a real nutcase, but the part about how the man made himself disappear is pretty interesting. You should read it. I'd rather have you give me a summary. Because you're lazy? Right, and because it's hard for me to check books out of the library right now. Okay, fine. So this half-crazy albino guy feels like a freak. But he's also kind of a genius, and he starts studying light, the way light works, and he gets this idea that if he could make every part of his body reflect light the same way that air does, which is not at all, then his whole body would be as invisible as air, and he could be completely transparent and have all this power. For him, it's all about the power, and he mixes up all these chemicals that can change the way his body reflects light, and he drinks this humongous drug cocktail. And he feels like he's going to die, and he passes out, and when he wakes up, his body has disappeared. At first, he's happy, but what he finds out is that being invisible is terrible and that all these ignorant people are scared to death of him. And that makes him even crazier, and he turns into this schizoid homicidal maniac, and at the end, it takes about 6 men to finally kill him. She pauses, and I don't say anything. Bobby? So that's the story? You said you wanted a summary. This sounds like a book I really need right now. Discouraging and disturbing, yet also deeply depressing. Thanks so much for sharing. Maybe you should start Alicia's book club. Here's your slogan, books to push you over the edge.